How's it going, everybody? My name is John Bianchi. I'm the Airbnb data guy. And for this video, this is going to be really real, really raw, live. I am going to be analyzing the top 21 markets by population in the United States, hunting for the best possible one-bedroom zip code in every single one of these different markets using my new Profit Map software that's not officially released yet. Now, I say I'm going to do all 21, but I'm going to see how long it actually takes me to get through all of these. I don't want to make this too long, so we're probably going to keep it within that half an hour, 45 minutes. We are looking at about 10 p.m. right now, so hopefully we can get through all of this. But, I've been making a lot of videos for people purchasing properties, and I feel like I've just been, avoiding people who are doing rental arbitrage. And so I want to make a video specifically for you guys. And I know there's tons of you out there that are looking to get somewhere between 5, 10 to 20 units in one building, and you're generally looking at studios, one bedrooms or two bedrooms. And so what I'm going to do for this is just simply focus in on the one bedrooms, and once again try to find the best possible location for you to go within that city. Now, what I want you to keep in mind as well is that I'm not going to just focus on which place has the most revenue. I'm also going to try and tie it into where the rents are pretty favorable within that location as well, and try and find the best place with the most efficiency within that market. Okay. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Now, like I said, this is going to be really real, really live. I just grabbed the list of all these different locations. I'm just going to speak on my thoughts as I go through this. I don't even have everything fully loaded and ready to go. But like I said, I have the first 21 largest cities. Now, not all of these ones allow Airbnb, so some of these I'm just going to avoid right off the bat, and just say no to New York because we know that we can't do it there. I'm also going to say no to Los Angeles because I know you can't do it there. And then what we're going to do is grab a profit map for Chicago. So I'm going to come over here and type in Chicago. That's going to pop up in Chicago, and then we're going to get a profit map. While that's loading, I'm going to go over here and type in Chicago so I can get that loaded up as well. And then we're going to focus in specifically for renting, and we're going to grab only one bedrooms. Again, we just want to focus right in on those one bedrooms. And then we're not going to be looking at any houses or any townhomes. And let me make myself a little bit smaller here. Do we want anything here? I don't think we need anything here that we need to worry about. So let's go back and grab that profit map. It's ready to go. And then we're going to open it up. And once again, we're just looking at the one bedroom. So for anyone who hasn't seen me explain this before, the way that a profit map works is that on the left-hand side, you have all the different zip codes within, in this case, Chicago, and they're in order of where the most listings are to where the least amount of listings are. You can take a look over here. And the reason we do that is because that tends to be where the most demand is, wherever the most listings are. And then up top, what you have are the different unit sizes. So a studio, one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom, so on and so forth. Where those two connect is the average annual revenue for an Airbnb in that area. So a studio within this zip code makes $32,000 a year on average. The number behind it represents how many Airbnbs are making up that average. So there are 9 studios in this zip code that on average make $32,000 a year. Okay. Now you know how to read the profit map and you understand what these numbers mean. If you were to select this area as a spot you wanted to look into, you would double click it and it's going to pop open all of the data for that specific area. And then you can analyze the data and get more into it. Now, we are going to be focusing on one bedrooms and trying to find that golden one bedroom zip code. Okay. So what I'm just going to do is highlight this row. So I'm hyper focused in on it. And what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for an outlier, a number that is higher than the rest. So if I start going down, I can see that this number is already about $10,000 to $5,000 higher than pretty well every single other one that I've just reviewed in this area. And then on top of that, the amount of listings behind here is actually more than almost all of these ones as well. So not only is there a lot of data, but there's also a very high average of amount of money being made in this specific location. Now, if I continue to go down, let's highlight this again. If I continue to go down, what you can actually see is that there's another area where people are doing $65,000 in average. There's a lot less listings. However, that is quite a bit higher than the other one over there. But I'm going to keep going and see if I can find someone else. You can see it says 45 here, but there's only 7 compared to 40. Just one way to think about this is that there are, okay, let's do this here easier. When you see 40, half are doing better and half are doing worse, which means there's 20 listings that are doing better than 43,000. So when I see this other one that's down here and it's doing 45,000, I know there's only 3 or 4 that are potentially doing better than 45,000. And so I'd rather look at the one that has 20 that are doing better naturally. This one as well is at 53. So you got 65, 53. These are not bad. Anyone who's watching this, just keep keep an eye on the zip code, and those are the different zip codes that you might want to be looking into. But for this one specifically, if I keep going down, I don't think I see anything else that's too intriguing. No, so we've got 3 main zip codes that you would want to focus in on. Not to say that there's not going to be profit in these areas, but this one here, again, has the most data. So 60614, this is actually where I had my Airbnbs, but I just didn't have 1 bedroom. So I wasn't expecting that to be the best one. And then you can see again here and here. So what I'm going to do is click open these ones here. And what I'm just looking for is the range of the potential profitability for these properties. Now, usually what's going to happen is there's going to be a couple outliers at the very top. Yeah, you can see there's a couple people up there. And then you have your bulk right in the middle, and then you usually have your worst ones right at the bottom. Now, for myself, I've done this enough times to know that I'm probably going to end up right around here. And so these are the ones I would open up and study and figure out what they look like. And what I can tell is that they're making somewhere between $50,000 to $60,000. So I'm going to do 50 just to keep it conservative and see if I can find some profitable properties there. But what I want to actually pull up now is my max rent calculator. Okay. And so the way that this works is I'm going to use this here to figure out what is the maximum amount of rent that I can pay for a 1-bedroom apartment in that area and what the rent would end up being. So first thing that I do is I enter in how much I think that the property is going to make. Then I put in how much profit I want to make. So I want to make about $10,000 off of these properties. Let's actually do 12,000 because I know a lot of you guys like to make $1,000 a month for those properties. So we're going to put that in there. Now, to get a Chicago 1-bedroom cleaned is not going to cost $400. It's probably going to be closer to, I would say, let's say 80 on average. The amenities are not going to cost that amount. I was averaging $75 for 4 bedrooms. So that's not a big deal. We're not going to be paying for water. The electricity is definitely not going to cost this much. Let's say we'll call it, maybe I'm going to say 150. I feel like that would make more sense. Let me put that in there. Sorry, I screwed up the formula there. 150 times 12 months. And that's going to work out to be the same for gas. We're probably not going to be paying for gas. I'm going to add in just in case, we're going to add, bulk up these expenses. We're not going to have pool, lawn, or cable expenses, but we are going to have internet, streaming, and also just general maintenance. But our general maintenance for a 1-bedroom is going to be significantly lower than anything else. So I'm going to put that at $200 just in case furniture breaks, something goes wrong, whatever it may be, which gives me a total expenses for the year of $12,000. Now, what you'll notice is that I did not add in my rent when I did this. And so the way the formula works here is I know that my total revenue is going to be $50,000. I want to make, money in my pocket, $12,000. And then these are going to be all of my expenses aside from my rent. But if I take that works up to $12,000. And then if you add in the other $12,000 I want to make, that adds up to $24,000. So the property has to make $24,000. Or sorry, I've spent $24,000. $12,000 went to expenses, $12,000 went to me. And that means that we have just over $25,000 left that can go directly to rent. And that's going to give me about $2,000 that I can spend on a 1-bedroom in downtown Chicago. That could potentially make $5,000 and make me $12,000. Okay. So now what we need to do is take a quick look at those properties to see what they actually look like. And then, so we'll go from about here to here. So let's go like this and click open. I just want to get a general feel for what these look like. The zip code that they're in is 60614. You can see that right down there. So I'm going to go over to here, click view map, let that load up, and then, it's loaded very quick. Okay. And then what we're going to do is go to 60614, and we can see where that one's located. It's right in Lincoln Park. So that's going to be my border that I'm going to want to use when I go over to over here. Let's go over here. We're going to zoom into that space, which is going to be right up here, Lincoln Park. And then what I'm going to do is draw. So I want to draw a line and border around here. Now, obviously, I know this area, so this one's going to be a little bit easier for me. But now we're only looking at the properties that are within that area. Again, these are all the 1-bedrooms. There's 199 of them. And let's put our max price. What was our max rent that we said we could use there? It was $2,150. So let's put that at 22 as our max. We just got rid of some properties, but not a lot. Well, let's actually take a look at what these properties look like to get, we're going backwards, to get a general feel for the type of properties. Now, for this scenario, I'm not going to be cleaning the data for these properties. This is obvious. Typically, when you're doing this on a slower basis, you're going to be reviewing the properties and trying to actually clean it as you're going through it to ensure that that last little bit of data is actually useful. But what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a living room and a dining room in these homes, and they're fairly decent size. To my surprise, they're not high rises. For some reason, I thought they would be, even though I know this neighborhood. But they're decent sized places, which is interesting. This one's a basement with a single bed that's almost looks like a studio. So maybe they have just a bed and then another bedroom. Yeah, you can see there's the additional bedroom. Again, these homes they're interesting. What I want to actually see quickly here is maybe I can hyper focus where these are all located. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of that data. I know I didn't get it perfectly, but I'm going to take that all and I'm going to paste it over here. And then I'm going to grab the titles up here and then I'm going to go like that. And we're going to move this one to here. I want to see if I can hyper focus this within the actual zip code. So rather than just being the entire zip code, maybe it's like a specific part of the zip code. Okay, so now that I've got that there, what I need to do is go here, which is going to be Google My Maps. I'm going to create a map and we're going to make it for Chicago, obviously. So this one is going to be for Chicago, and then we're going to save, and then we're going to go import and go Google Drive, and then we're going to grab the title here. I apologize for saying, and then we're going to. It's probably annoying to anybody who's listening to this over and over again. Okay, so we've got that, and then there we go. And for this one, what it's just doing is just grabbing the lat and the long, and that's asking what you want the title to be. I want it to be the revenue. Again, I'm just trying to see the exact location of this. So as an example, right, if you go and look at my profit map or my boundary here, I am all the way up to Lakeview, which is this road up here, which I think is Belmont. So I'm all the way up to Belmont. But if you look at this, we are actually, most of these properties, let me change the color here so they're a little bit more, they're easier to see. Almost all of them are right here, okay? And Belmont is way up here, I think. I think I might have passed it already. Yeah, there's Belmont way up there. So what I can now do, now that I know that I'm hyper-focused right here, if I want to make $50,000, right? I can pull that back, and I can remove the boundaries, and then we're going to draw again, and we're just going to stay focused right here, because that's where we want to be. Now, let's see how many properties we have there. Boom, we just went down to 18. Beautiful. So we just cut out so many potential properties. Let me just double check and make sure I had that right. That's Fullerton right there. And Fullerton's up there. So I honestly could probably even cut this in even further from what I did, because it actually is over here. If I did that, I'd lose all these properties here. I think it's not too far off, so I'm going to leave it as is. But interesting that I can cut it off even more so. But with that being said, I have a general feel of what these properties look like. What I'm noticing is for these one bedrooms is that they're actually not that small. They're all in like these types of buildings here. So they're not even that good of listings, but they're not too small, I guess is what I'm trying to get across. Like they all have decent living rooms that I'm seeing, decent kitchens. This one has an outdoor space. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. This one's a super unique looking one, which is pretty cool. You think it'd be making more than the other ones. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be looking for when I go and actually try and find one of these properties. So I'm just going to go in order with this and see, actually, you know what? Let's do the largest square footage just so that we can get the potentially best property. Now, I'm realizing as I'm doing this that I had said that I'm going to be looking for the best zip code for people who are trying to get like 10 units in one building. And I realized that that is not what I'm doing right now. I'm actually looking at these smaller units. So I apologize for anyone who's actually seeing this and they're like, well, that's not what you said you're going to do. So I will change in just a moment. But what you can see here is that this unit is significantly worse than all the other units that we were just looking at. So there's no way that that one's making the amount of money that we would need it to make. And so let's just kind of keep going. I can actually see there is a high rise right here. And I'm wondering if this high rise is large enough to be able to do. So it has views, looks more like a studio, but then again, they usually show multiple different properties within one thing. But this does really look like a studio rather than a one bedroom. I don't know why they would call it that, but I wouldn't assume that that would be something you could do. I can see this is another larger building, but this kitchen is very clear and indicated that it's not nearly as nice as some of these other ones that we're seeing. So those properties are not going to work either. I can see we have these here, which might look a little bit better. They look really small and tight with a really old kitchen. I can see there's a lot of different units here. Not really all that ideal. We have an 18. This one kind of has a unique look to it, and space. It's 700 square feet. That's not a lot, but I'm wondering if that would be the bed. It looks like you have a little lofted area up here with a bedroom back here. The kitchen looks to be a decent size. I would assume that this one would be fairly close to some of the properties we've been seeing, like especially this one here, kitchen's not all that great. It's a smaller unit, but it seems to have the space that you would need it to have, right? Because it's got a decent sized living room that you can see from the first photo. It's decent, and then you got that upstairs space, or that lofted space with the additional what looks to be a room underneath it, some good windows, and then that living room right there, and that's 1,800, and I can spend up to that amount, which means I could probably increase this to 1,400. Would that be right? I think I might. Oh wait, got a zero. 14,000. Yeah, so I could actually almost make $15,000 off of this property, rather than the 12,000 I was looking for, if I were to move forward with that property, obviously. But let's keep going. So we've got another one here. The kitchen looks a little bit too dated. I feel like the space might be a little bit too small for in comparison to the other ones. So is what it is. This one actually seems pretty nice. That's what decent, well put together. Again, it looks like to be another studio. For some reason, we're seeing a lot of studios instead of actual bedrooms. So, right, because that's the bed right there, and that's, yeah. So they're rendering this as a very small unit. Unfortunately, that just seems to be continually coming up, even though that's not what we put in. And that unit's super old. And then we got one last one here. And again, this is very old, but this one actually seems like it might have some potential, just simply because you can see it has a living room right here, and like it has a decent space for that. It has a decent space for the kitchen, even though it's older. You've got your own bedroom. You've got a dining little space there, and it also feels like it's. I can tell the kitchen's old, but the rest of it has a good height to it and feel to it, and windows and exposure and all that stuff. So all of those things could make this place feel a lot better. Without the renderings and these type of photos, it does look a lot worse. So I wouldn't bank on it, but that would be in a multi-unit building. It looks like that you could potentially get more than a handful in there. So out of all the properties that we went through, there was none that were stellar that stuck out. Actually, this one's pretty awesome too. Well, not awesome, but it's got a nice deck that looks out to the space there. Decent looking kitchen. It looks like we've got, oh, there it is. So we got like a good sized living room. So I would say there's another one there too that we could potentially get. So all those properties there, I would assume could actually make a decent amount of money. Now, like I said, I want to focus in on those larger unit or high rises. And so what I actually might need to do here is maybe just see where those high rises are. So we had a couple of other zip codes that were doing really well, and I'm wondering if those ones are. So 60611. So let's go 60611, which is going to be this one right here. And yeah, as you can see, that's going to be right in that sort of downtown core. So let's open those ones up, which are making $65,000 a year on average, and take a look at them. And as you can see, we've got somewhere from 50 all the way to 70, which is a good little range. So I'm going to put my money on $60,000 as the potential. Let's open up those listings and take a look at what they look like real quick. Let's go click here, and oh shoot, I keep doing that. I accidentally clicked remove links. So let's open the links and see what we get. So we want to start up here. I can see that most of these are probably going to be the same landlord, just because there's emojis in every single one. So Patricia, as you can see, she's got what looks to be 10 units in one of these buildings, which would be this one right here. And what I would do, so this is actually some of the best piece of data that you can get, because you have one landlord or one person who's a super host who's showing off having 10 units in one building, and we can see exactly how well it's designed, what the kitchen looks like, the size of it, what amenities are offered. So decently sized place, not overly designed by any means, and the photos aren't even that great either. The place offers a pool, and it has this little outdoor space. It seems like that looks like it's going up to the bedroom. So all in all, it's a good sized one bedroom for the most part, and it's got a lot of amenities. And I want to see if these other rooms are generally the same idea. And so what you can see, we've got the living room space over to the kitchen space, step up. Okay, so it's the same idea. So it's a regular high rise, but we don't have floor to ceiling windows. We do have some views, but it doesn't seem like she's boasting those too much or showing them off all that much. It's just looking straight at a building. And on top of that, she's actually showing off a lot of the amenities that the building offers. And these homes are making 60. It seems like she's doing 60. So I'm actually going to do 65 as my max rent, just because she's right up there. So 1, 2, 3. Probably can walk away with a little bit more here because of that. And so 20. You know what? Let's do 15 just to be safe, because I want that good rent if I'm going to be getting in these high rises with all that that's going on. So If we go back to the map on profit map here, we can see they're hyper focused into this little corner right here. That's going to be division all the way down to pretty well the river. And so if I come over here, we can find division. Division's going to be right there. The river's right there. Let's remove the boundaries and redraw in that specific area. So we go up to division, pretty well all the way down to the water. We'll loop around like that, click apply. Again, we're sticking with the 1 bedrooms, but we can actually go all the way up to 3,000 for these. Now there's 103 that end up showing up. So what I want to see is, what if I did want $20,000 in profit? What's my new number? It's at 2750, let's say. So now I'm going to move this down to 2750 and just see if I can find a property that matches that. Barely anything went away. So there's actually quite a lot. We know that we actually need a pool with this property. So let's add that in, that we need a pool. Okay. And again, this one's staying. So again, we clicked it because it had a pool. So we've got a living room here with better views. We've got, there's no dining room, but the other one didn't. I mean, it had a dining space. The one did. The other one really didn't, which I think is this one didn't have the dining space, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's no dining table here. Oh, there's one right there. So how far off? How much less space? We don't have any space for a dining room in here whatsoever. So that might hurt our revenue case, just because it is definitely a smaller space. Again, these all look like they might be different units. So it might even be in the same building, it feels like. But regardless, this is very close. This one's not. This one's actually a little bit further off in comparison to the last one that we were just looking at. And I wonder if that just has to do with the amount of rent that we're willing to pay for a certain spot. So do we get a nicer place if we pay more? This is literally just showing me the amenities for some reason. And let's go back. Let's keep going. And what do we have here? So for this one, again, it's a little bit of an older one. I don't know why the first one that it was showing me was so nice in comparison to the other ones. But again, it's a little bit smaller than I would want it to be. So let's get rid of that. Let's actually go again with the square footage and see if that makes a difference. We've got this one here that pops up. That's a solid looking space. Look how nice that is. Look how nice those views are. The kitchen also looks really good. So this is that's a great size spot with a great view. And I can't tell exactly how much this revenue is, but regardless, it's definitely less than our max amount, which is $2,750. So technically we probably could get away with making about $22,000. So that's showing 25 as our top. And as you can see, 25 is the top here as well. So then therefore this property has the potential to make $22,000 a year per unit. If you get 10 of those, you're looking at $200,000 a year off of this one building, based off of the data that we're seeing here, which is likely what Patricia is making, or close to in that case, based off of how much money she's making from these homes. So let's put it this way. If you're going to be going into Chicago, 60611 is probably going to be your best market. That took 23 minutes to do. So that took significantly longer than I expected it to do, but I'm going to keep moving along and see if I can actually find some more in a faster way. So the next one, we said, yes, we've got that can work. Houston is, I actually was looking into Houston earlier today, so I might be able to move a little bit quicker on this one. If we go with Houston, I was just there. Where did that profit map go? Make quite a few profit maps on a daily basis, as you can see, but I'm not seeing it. There it is, Houston, Texas. Let's open up that profit map and take a look at it. And if we go to the profit map, we want to focus in on the 1 bedrooms again. And so I can see there's 126 listings here, and they're doing on average about 19,000. Now I'm assuming that 126 means that that's going to be the downtown where the vast majority of those high rises are going to be. So let's just take a quick look. That's 06. So let's click and view the map here. Give it a second here just to load and see if we can get into it. Let's also switch this over to Houston while we're waiting on that. Houston, Texas. There we go. Again, hopefully all these filters stay. Yep, it looks like they all stayed. All right, it opened up, and we're looking for 06, and that's going to be right down there. All right, all right in that little space. Okay, cool. So this is where we're going to be focusing. That looks to be the circle. Right to the left of that is where we want to draw our border. So let me get a little bit more in. Let's go. I can already tell that that's where all the buildings are. And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw our boundary right in this general location right here. All right, apply. And now we're locked into that space. Let's figure out exactly what our revenue range is here. And right away, so what I can see is that I can see a couple of outliers that are doing well. And then we're right into the 30s and a quick drop off to the 20s, right? So we actually drop off fairly quickly into the $20,000 range. But from 30,000 to 20,000, there's a lot of properties there. And so I don't know exactly what's going on, but this heart keeps showing up over and over and over again. So I'm going to assume that that's going to be the same host for each one of these. And I'm curious. Oh, it looks like the listings aren't showing up. So that's interesting. Okay, instead, let's do this. So let's grab these ones here and take a quick look at what they are and then try to see what those properties will look like. But we're going to be assuming, I'm going to assume 25,000. I don't want to assume too much more than that. For this, let's go 25, 1, 2, 3. And then let's, again, put in our 12,000 that we want to make here. I'm going to keep everything else the same, just assuming that's how it is. And what you quickly see is that the max rent that we can spend is about $63. So I don't think any of these would actually change all that much. I mean, it's roughly going to be the same across the board. So what that means is we got to change this to maybe about 5,000. And still, that's going to put us at $647. Max that we can actually spend here. So if we can't get this up to 30, or unless I'm missing something here, but this all looks accurate to me, your internet's going to cost $75 a month, your gas is $50, your electricity is $108. You know, even if this wasn't there, it really wouldn't change anything all that much, as you can see. So even if I have that wrong, that's not that big of a deal. And we're definitely paying at least $80 for all these turns during that time frame. So I don't know how I could be getting this. I don't know exactly what we are expecting here. So if I can't make $5,000, this isn't going to work out, right? Because I highly doubt the rent is $647 for Houston in this area. And if I were to go over here and click even $700, I know we're not finding anything. Okay, so I'm not wrong on that. So what this means, okay, is that when I see this very quickly, I'm not sure if I want to get any of these listings because it seems like the vast majority of people are doing less than 30,000, as you can see, very, very much so, less than 30,000. And based off of the max rent calculator here, even if I'm making 25,000 and trying to walk away with $5,000 of profit, there's barely anything left here for me, and I'm almost getting confused why. But I mean, it does make sense. You take 17,000, which is the total of the 12,000 and the 5,000 that you want to make, and you're left with only $7,000 to put on rent in over 12 months. That looks like that. So we're going to veto Houston real quick, unless we want to look at maybe one of the other zip codes. I just chose this one because it had the most listings, but maybe we can take a look and find another zip code that might be beneficial. So that one was at 19,000. This one's at 23. That one's at 24. This one's at 27. 35. Now, again, these would need to be in the areas where there's high rises. So I'm obviously going to choose, I'm going to choose this one because it has, even though it's $3,000 less, it's got a lot more data here. And as we can see, we have more people between the $40,000 and $30,000 range, but we still have a ton of people in that $20,000 range. So it just seems like a lot of people are not making money here, which is too bad. But the 08 area, let's see where that even is on the map. Just trying to lock that in. Okay, that's going to be up and over here. And let's even see if there's any high rises over there, because if there isn't, then I'm just going to kind of move on, right? I don't want to waste any time with this. So let's see if we go lock into this area and click apply. What kind of units are we looking at here? So we have something that looks, we got these sort of buildings. I wonder if these buildings are what we're seeing in the actual profit map here. So 7, 8, these are doing 24. I think I already clicked that open. Yeah. So let me open these up and take a quick look. Do these buildings, that's a house, that's a house. This looks to be a house as well. It's sort of like a duplex, but still counts. Again, trying to find those 10 units that you can get in one building. So that zip code's not going to work out. All of these are houses, and it is what it is. If you want to get houses, then that area might work for you, but that's not what we're trying to accomplish on this journey here. So I'm actually just going to veto Houston. I probably could continue to go through it, but at a very quick glance, it did not look like an area that had potential. And so we're going to move on to Phoenix. So let's click this and go Phoenix and go get profit map. While we're doing that, we're going to come over here and change this over to Phoenix. All right, so Phoenix. I'm realizing now that at the very beginning of this whole call, I was, or this whole video, I was, super analyzing Chicago in one specific area that was not the. Okay, so that didn't open up the way that I wanted to. I grabbed Phoenix, Maryland. All right, let's try this one more time. Phoenix, Arizona, I think would make more sense. So I'm realizing that I spent a lot of time going through Chicago and not the place where you can actually get the high rise. And if you're still here, if you're still watching this, and you're like, well, why did he spend so much time doing that? That was just my mistake. Again, this is raw and live. I should have been focusing more on the downtown area and trying to see if it would work there. But what I want you to take away from that sort of first half there was how I was reviewing those properties, what I was looking for, right? I was trying to pay attention to how big the living rooms were, what the kitchens looked like, trying to get a general feel of the buildings that they would have been in, and use that logic when you're applying it directly to when you're hunting for properties within the high-rise area, okay? So, but let's get back to it because the profit map's going to be ready to go now. And we're going to be looking at these, once again, one bedrooms in Phoenix. Right away, I can see a 38, which is dominating all of these other areas. Do I have anybody else? I got a 31 down here, which is also doing pretty well. And we got a 42, but there's not a lot of data there. So let's start off with the 38, and that's going to be in 18. And I want to make sure that these are going to be in the high-rise area again, rather than just being like a profitable space. We want to make sure it's in the. Now I know for a fact that's not the high-rise space. So high-rise space is more so going to be in that downtown core. Let me remove this filter here. We'll put that up to 26. Let's click into one of these. And we're looking for the zip code of 85003. Okay, so what does the 85003 zip code look like? If we go back over here, 85003 is doing $28,000 on average for 21, because I'm assuming that's going to be the downtown core, right? It's right where Phoenix is showing, so I'm assuming also where you see multiple units. So like I can see 8 units here, so this would also be another potential spot that has 85012 is going to be another spot. There are some multi-units over this way, but they're going to be like this, which is not what we're looking for. And then once we get over that way, that's kind of a whole different area. So I'm actually going to focus in right here, and then I'll focus in up there to see if I can find anything. But I figure it makes more sense to focus in the downtown core rather than anything else. We can get rid of that one. So what I'm seeing is, again, a couple of people doing really well, but then we get quickly into the 30s. And this is our sort of range here. So again, we're looking at that $25,000 range for potential profit. You could say, hey, I'm going to make 30,000. And if you made 30,000, you have the ability to spend $1,000 on rent with all these same metrics. Again, maybe you're like, hey, I'm only going to spend $1,200 on something like this, which you could do, but I don't see any of these other ones changing all that much in all reality. So I don't want to just keep changing it. So we're looking at $1,200 that we could potentially spend. I know I just got rid of the gas. I'm assuming there's not too much gas that's being used there. So let's go 1,200 for the Phoenix downtown circle. Let me make sure that I'm looking directly in the space that I want to be looking at, which I believe I said was 03. Is that right? Let me grab this one more time. That's 04. How come I feel like I grabbed 03 already? Well, I guess I could look right here. I did grab 03. So 03 and 04, I guess, are going to be the two that we're going to be looking at. And let's just take this entire little spot right here where there's clearly a whole bunch of properties, and circle in there, click apply, and then only go up to 1,200 and see if we can find any in that space. We've got a couple, but they're clearly not high rises. And so unfortunately, that doesn't look like that's going to work or match up. We can just take a quick look at what these ones are. Maybe they're not high rises. It's a high rise. All right, so never mind. That one is a high rise. What else do we got here? But they're doing 30,000. Again, I did increase it to 30,000 as that sort of top line potential, and we still only walked away with 1,200. So in this zip code, it's not looking like it's going to work. Let's see if maybe the 04 zip code makes a difference. There's 04. We'll click into that. And then, okay, we can actually see that there's quite a bit more doing over 30, which is interesting. Let's open these up, get a quick look at what they are. So these aren't in necessarily high-rise buildings. I also don't know if I'm trusting this data. These are really bad looking listings across the board. Like those, I don't know what's going on there. Again, not in a high-rise, not in a high-rise, not in a high-rise, is in a high-rise, but I don't think we're going to be able to make that one work. So again, Phoenix, at a quick glance, when I'm trying to find these high-rises, it's not looking like it's going to work out for what I want to do. And so I'm just closing these things up. I'm trying to see where else could I potentially go here that might work. Right. So we did also decide that up here there was potential. But if I keep up this, okay, wait, let me remove this amount and just see where those were again. So here's one with 20 units, right? And it's got a pool. It kind of looks like a little almost hotel. So it's not necessarily a high rise, but there's definitely a lot of apartments in here. And they're going from like 17, so about 17 to 1800. And it's in 85012. So let's go find that zip code. And we're looking for 12121212. Come on. Am I getting this wrong? 85012. 85012, 85012. Where is that zip code? Oh, it's way down here. But we got, everybody's making somewhere between, again, maybe 30. And if we hit 30, then we can, if we hit 30, then we can do that. But, not everybody is hitting 30 there. If we remove all of our profit, we still can't make money. All right, well, that's too bad. So I guess it seems like, if you're not getting over that $30,000 range within a specific area, due to the rent prices, unless the rent prices were more favorable, which obviously they aren't in the markets I'm looking into right now. So unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to be an area that's going to work out. So I'm going to put no to Phoenix again. Now, before I walk away from this, just realize that, I went through the downtown core and I then went and looked up in this space, and I can draw a bigger circle if anybody wants, and I'll click apply. Now I realize that I must have a pool, but I'm assuming that's also going to be a big deal for this area. So you know what? I just realized I was doing that. So go back to that 1200 and see, are any of these multi-units? This one looks like it might be a multi. It's got a pool as well. So maybe this, maybe this. I almost just made a mistake when I was doing this, when I was going through. This is, it tends to be how it goes. You leave a filter on and all of a sudden, right? So let me go back here for a second and go to, that would have been the higher up space. That would have been in 12. Okay, so let's open up these ones. And what are we working with here? Man, I got to move myself like every 2 seconds. All right, let's open that up. That one didn't open up. That's okay. So that's obviously that's a large, nice, well put together listing. I want to get a look of what the actual building on the outside of this looks like. So that's a house. Okay, so that sucks. That also is a house. That's another house. This appears to be an apartment building, and you can see they've got a pool as well. And it's well put together. It's a good looking listing. And this is Stevie. Then the next 3 pages don't open. So if we wanted to rely on one piece of data, like we're doing right now, that would be, what was this? The entire, so she's making $28,000 a year. So if we say 28, 23, and we want to make, let's say 5,000. Fuck. Oh, sorry. Give me a swear. We're looking at, we can spend $1,000 in rent. And so how much was the rent there again? The rent on that one was, or on these ones, we're just above. So if we want to cut off some of the money that we want to make, so we're looking at 1,200 almost every time. What about this one here? There's only 2 units available. I wonder what kind of, there's also no pool. So again, that one had a pool, so we would need to have a pool. We got this one here, this one here. None of these are at that $1,000 range. Maybe this one's a little bit closer, but again, it doesn't really look like you can get too many there. And it almost looks like you can't get multiple units in any of these. Oh, there's one you can get 3 units. So which is this one here. So you might be able to get 3 units there. And if you did that, you might be able to make 2,700, but and you would lose about. So if you made it you'd walk away with probably 4,500. Is what I would assume there per unit. So you're looking at 4,500 times 3, just under 15,000, 14,000, 13,500, something like that. Anyways, Cool. So that's what you'd end up working out, what you'd end up making there. You're going to be furnishing each unit for about $5,000. So you take about a year to get your money back and another year to start making some money. But, you're just picking up units one by one. So what I'm going to say is that Houston is a possibility. So it's not a dead no, but it's a possibility. Let's go to San Antonio as our next one. We're at 40 minutes right now. So we're actually making some good time as we get past the beast of Chicago and continue to keep moving forward. So we've got a couple more locations narrowed down now, and let's get into San Antonio. All right, so San Antonio, let's get rid of these filters so we don't make that same mistake as we did before. Again, the pool one, likely you're going to need it, but regardless, let's just get rid of it. I'm going to look again for where the multi-units are, so it looks like they're everywhere. 10, 13. Holy, but they're not up here. There is some up there. There's 32 units right there that you could potentially get. They are all over the place with a hyper focus right here. So I'm definitely going to hyper focus in the downtown core just to get a feel for it. And then from there, I'll kind of pull back. So I want to know what that downtown core location zip code is. And it's going to be 05. Let's go over here. Our profit map is ready. So we're looking at 05, 05, 05. I was expecting it to be higher up on this list. Did I get the right location? San Antonio, 78205. Let's go 782. So we're looking for 05. I see 04, 03, 01. Oh, that's interesting. It's way down there. All right. Okay, so let's look into it. And we see a couple of outliers, but then we're quickly down here. So again, this is going to be like that 25 to 30 range that we're seeing so often. I've already got it at 28 for this amount. So let me just do a quick circle here. And if nothing's, below $1,000, then we can just move on and we can stop wasting our time here. Okay. So let's go like that, click apply, and up to, I'll say 1,200 just in case. We do have a couple. We have some 7 units here. These are, again, almost going to be $1,200 though. I didn't say that I need to have a pool because I didn't write anything like that in there because I don't know yet. So let's open these up and take a quick look. Again, these are going to be like borderline working out and not working out, right? So that's a house. That's obviously an apartment building and it has a pool. So none of those really work out. Most of that data actually was bad data. So I'm going to move out of that zip code altogether. I can see I'm in the 04 zip code now. So I wonder why that's happening, but we're in 04. Let's go take a look. I can see there that it's making a ton of data. Or sorry, it's not making a ton of data. There's a ton of data. And you've got some at 50. Ignore that one. And then it drops quickly right around here. It just drops off. So you have a whole bunch doing almost 50. And then you have a whole rest doing 30. So let me take a quick look to see what these people are doing potentially right. Maybe they've got more expensive listings or properties or something along those lines, which means that they would obviously cost more. But maybe it's the same host and he's just doing a really good job. So I can see the host is Richie for that one. It's Richie for that one. It's Richie for that one. It's all in the same building. So this is another example of just like we found in Chicago, where you have the same host who's crushing it across all of his properties and they're all roughly making the exact same amount of money. So well done, Richie. And because of that, because I know I can probably operate on the same level, I'm going to assume that I'm going to make about 47,000 off of this one. Let's go 45. Let's play it safe. Let's not be stupid here. And then let's get back to that 12,000 that we're looking for. We can see we can pay up to 1,800. Now I got to get a feel for this building. We can see the kitchen is pretty standard. The living room is there is a living room, so it's pretty decent, but we have no dining room. We want to keep going here. We can see that it's got a nice little setup, nice little pool, and all the amenities that you would want, right? But for the most part, the interior is really nothing that special. And I'm assuming most of these are going to be the exact same build. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Let me just triple check his location here. He's right in there. He's right downtown. And now we can spend, what's our max rent number? We went up to 1,800. Let's get over here and jump this up, which feels so good to actually find some money being made. And now we have better properties we can look at. We want to make sure we're looking at places that have a pool, which is going to give us this. So let's find one that has, a good amount of units. Let's get a little bit closer to his. So this one here, great kitchen, actually. It's a little bit smaller, but it's got good high ceilings. And it's not too far off, I would say. With some good design, you can get there. It's got a pool table just like his did. It's got a really nice pool, even with those set up just like his did. Here you go. And these ones are anywhere from 12 to 13 to 15. So these are all well below that $1,800 mark. So if these ones can make $50,000 a year, then we're kind of laughing, right? Like that's best case scenario. Hypothetically, let's say you paid $1,500 for these rather than 18. You could probably bump this up to 18,000. Is that right? No, I said okay, so it'd be closer to 15. Yeah, so about 16,000 is what you can end up making. So you can make about 16,000 off of each one of these. You get 10 of them. That's $160,000 a year, right? Just like what Richie's doing right now. So well done, Richie. I'm gonna put, without going too deep, there's one other thing I want to check here. Now, are these properties here designed as well in the same type of building? And if so, that's going to make me scared and worried that, maybe Richie's just doing something that we can't do or whatever it may be. But I just want to make sure we're not looking at almost identical properties. So I can see right away the kitchen is a little bit different. It's not as nice. It's got that brown, older kitchen look. The pool is not as nice either, technically. The design is a lot more boring. And I'm not just putting this down just to kind of make myself feel right, but the pool's actually the same. It actually might be in the exact same area, or the exact same condo, just based off of that red. Again, this is a little bit more boring. So hope you're a little bit more boring than Richie, and Richie is making more money because of you, because of that. So larger couch, more style, more design, better looking kitchen, right? And we get to some of hopes here. Look at that couch compared to the couch that Richie has, right? This is the stuff that makes all the profit and all the difference. Even, yeah, okay. So I was going to say something else, but anyways, Hope is making $30,000 and hopefully she's not paying more than $1,200 for those properties, which she might be because they're a little bit smaller. So she might be just breaking even or getting close to making some profit. But anyways, so I'm going to put San Antonio as a yes, as a definite a place that looks like it can make some money. So it's a yes, it's a full word yes. San Diego is not allowed, so we're going to veto that. Dallas is not allowed, so we can get past that one. San Jose again. Austin is not allowed either. Jacksonville you can do, but I can promise you it's not going to work out. So let's get into Jacksonville real quick. It should be an easy one. If I'm proved wrong, great. If not, we'll figure it out. So let that generate. And we'll get over here once again. We're at that 47 mark. I'm going to finish it up after Jackson, even though I probably should have stopped it after San Antonio on that high, of it working out there. So Jacksonville, Oregon. I don't think we wanted that one, so we want Jacksonville, Florida. There we go. Okay. And just for anyone who doesn't know why I quickly said no to all these, pretty well regulations across the board don't allow you to do it in any of these. And I've pre-added a no to Jacksonville. Did not mean to do that. Okay. What is with this Jacksonville, Oregon showing up? What am I doing here? Let's go new profit map. I apologize. Jacksonville, Florida. Thought I clicked it. Get profit map. There we go. All right. We'll let that load. Let's figure out where the multi-units might be. Again, we've got the pool setting in here. I'm going to remove that. I just want to see where we can get some more. I can see it looks like whenever I see those buildings, so it means there's multiple units. So you can definitely get a ton of units over there. Usually, again, downtown core is always going to be best. We've got this area right here. What zip code are we looking at over here? We've got 3222007. And then there's a bunch of units over here as well, which is 06. I'm going to go with 07. 07 actually looked a little bit better there. So that's obviously ready now. And we're going to grab 07 and we're going to go straight to the one bedrooms. And as you can see, nobody's making any money. And I'm not even going to bother because most people are doing less than 25,000. And if I were to, let's see. Okay, so let me just triple check here because maybe the rent is cheaper than I am expecting. So 322207. And I just want to get a general feel for the whole section. So we got all this area right here, which is going to be pretty well everything we're seeing right there. And draw the border. Okay, and again, if we're doing 2,500, the max we can do is maybe 1,000 to 1,200. I'll just do 1,200 just to see. And there's only one that's left with 2 units. everything else is not 2 units. So we're going to say no to that one real quick. And then let's remove that boundary. I can see there's quite a few over here, but it's all pretty spread out, unfortunately, across these different areas. Again, I want to kind of look where the downtown tends to be, because that usually is always best. So what is our downtown core, even though there's only 2 units here? 02, and then we have 5 units back here, and that's going to be in 06. Let's actually look in 06, because that might be a little bit better. Let's go 06. And then that, again, is going to be right in that little grouping there. Close this up. We're going to draw around here, right around that general space. Go OK. And then let's go open up 06 and see how much money 06 is making. 06 is a little bit closer, a little bit more consistency or more data, but there's a lot of people doing less than 20. Honestly, I'd put it at 25 as like your best case scenario again. And there are some properties that are available here, but are they? So you have these ones that are super cheap, super cheap. But so if they were that much, how low can I actually go my revenue here? So what if I did 20,000, 1, 2, 3, and I walked away with 5,000, 1, 2, 3. We can. Oh shoot. I thought I had 5,000 in there. All right, so 380 is how much we could spend. So we would have to make 25,000 to even pay for those. So I still only can look at these ones doing, 24 or more. So let's take a look at these ones and see what they look like. I know that the ones in that building specifically, this one here, don't seem to have a pool at first glance. I don't know why they wouldn't show off the pool. So I'm not going to really, dive into it too much. But if any of these have a pool, then I probably wouldn't move forward with it. So this appears to be, that's not even a high rise. We can see Eric is hosting most of these. Again, that's not going to be a high rise. Not in a high rise, not in a high rise. So not even comparable. These ones seem to be by Eric, like they might be in some sort of multi-unit building, but not really. So these are all different houses or apartments or, yeah, see, it's in that kind of a building. So this is not really what we're looking for. So Jacksonville, without continuing to go through this, I'm just going to call it a veto. I don't think that I want to spend too much time on this. You know what? I'm not going to call it a veto because these are crazy low rents in comparison to every other market that we were just looking at. And if you can get rent that low and you can get somebody to rent, if you can potentially make $30,000 off of, 25 to 30,000, there could be potential there. So I'm going to put that as a possibility. And I'm going to end the video here because we are at 52 minutes and I got through 12. Now, mind you, I actually only ended up doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, I thought I did more than 4, but we did 4. And honestly, my favorite was probably San Antonio. I think, I skipped over Philly. Oh, shoot. I actually wanted to do Philly. But I'm going to cut it off. So you guys can do Philly if you want to do Philly. But anyways, I'm going to actually, copy, paste. No, there we go. Alrighty, so we've got it all organized for the next time we come around. Now, if you stuck around all the way through, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. And because you did that, I'm actually going to give you early access to the new Profit Map software. Now, I made a video less than a week ago, and I said that we are going to max it out at 25 people for the early bird special, but we sold that out so much quicker than I expected. I gave all the way to August 18th. We sold out in 4 days. So we actually are over that capacity right now. And because of that reason, it seems like there's a lot of demand for it. And I still want to get that. I want to get feedback from anybody who is actually wanting to use this software. And so, as I said, this, everything that I've been using here, it is not officially released yet. And because of that, we are in the process of getting it ready to be released. But it's not. And so because it's not, we want people to test it out. We want you to tell us what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Now, you still have to pay for it, but you're getting a outrageously discounted price. And when I say outrageous, don't think like $20 to $30, okay? When it's compared to everything else that is out there, it is way more discounted. And on top of what the price is going to be for this when it's officially released, it is a very good discount. And so if you are interested in this, we're upping it to 50. I think we're already at 30 or 32. So we are only going to do a few more here of people that are actually going to be allowed in at that price, because otherwise I'm just giving it away. So if you're interested, reach out to me and say red elephant, so I know that you're coming from this specific video and you're falling within this discounted offer. When you do reach out, ask for the demo. I'll send you the demo. It's going to break down the pricing. If you like what you see, we'll then send you the ability to gain access and start playing around and going from everywhere. Researching everything that you need to research. But I hope all of you arbitrage people that are killing it out there and crushing it and absolute hustlers working to get all those buildings enjoyed this video and want to be able to use the full harness and power of this tool to be able to find the most profitable locations for you anywhere you go. So that offer stands. Red elephant, and we likely are going to sell out, so I don't need to even put an end date on this. So reach out to me if you see this and if you enjoyed this, and have a good night.